Hado Yeshayahu. Hallelujah. Total Raya Yeshua. Quick, set, face. All praises, all honor, and all glory to the Most High Yah. Thank you so much for the light. Peace and blessings, my people. Peace and blessings. Hey, man, as y'all can see by the title of this video, YouTube and the education system, y'all really got some explaining to do, man. And we back in here with another one, man. I appreciate everybody tuning in. If you haven't already, press that like button. Hey, this is definitely going to be some controversial conversations taking place right now as we are moving into a new generation, a new age of exposing and influencing kiddos beyond just in the physical realm. You know, now we have these so-called computers and artificial intelligence that can easily manipulate and so-called teach people. And that's what I see with this system of YouTube doing. That's what I see with the system of the educational field doing. And I just really wanted to bring something to light. I was going around, man, you know, what I do over here, I try to use my content to inspire, to encourage, and to motivate the next to be great. And as you guys can see, man, I'm back in here, another live in the classroom, you know. Hey, y'all made in the building, shalom, shalom. Hey, and one of my passions, I love to speak about education. I love to speak about, you know, some of the things that I bring to the table as far as being able to engage and interact with these kiddos. And with me doing such, it puts me into a very peculiar place because I'm starting to see that it's not that they don't want children to learn, but there's an agenda for what children must learn. And my question to the people who are creating these so-called curriculums, what does it benefit one to know any type of, let's just say, orientation biologically, sexually? What does that benefit anyone? And family, I really just wanted to bring this to light. As you guys can see, there's a warning on the video and the title. I will be showing some rated R content, and in my opinion, is rated R, especially considering if you're introducing this to children, you know, there's a very thin line. And so obviously YouTube thought otherwise, and this content is readily available for your child's consumption and for the teachers to be able to put these videos and curriculums into their classes. So let's go ahead, family. Let me show you guys kind of the content that I was reviewing. Shout out to, who's this here? Kiki Fusher. I hope I'm saying her name right, but that's where I'm getting this source video from. And pretty much today, we're going to chime in, and I'm going to be able to add my real-time response to this video. And so, family, hey, bear with me. Y'all see, man, it's early in the AM, but this is something that truly needs to be discussed. This is something that truly needs to be talked about within the community, because it's like, what is really going on? And y'all willing, hopefully I got enough time to just expand and get all of my thoughts out on this topic. But if not, man, expect a part 2. So family, let's go ahead and get straight to it. The title of this video is called Parents with Kids in Public Schools. This is your wake-up call. So let's go ahead and do it. And if I do have a couple of people in the chat, once I play the video, if you guys can tell me if you hear the audio or not, because I don't have, obviously, you guys see I'm not in my studio. I don't even know if the audio is clear. So if you guys can let me know, hey, all praises, all honor, and all glory to the Most High. I appreciate y'all. Much love. But let's go ahead and get into it. Let's see what this young lady is speaking about.
Parents, this video is for you. It is imperative that we pay attention to what is going on in our schools. I got a permission slip recently from my daughter's school, and we live in a fairly conservative area next to Akron, Ohio. The permission slip was for her to attend health class. Mind you, she is in 5th grade. It had the
A permission slip to attend health class. Let's just stop right there. First things first, these people recognize that, maybe we should so-called get consent. Maybe we should inform the parents that we're going to be introducing these concepts. And many parents may not want to obviously have their kids influenced in such a matter. So let's send out a permission slip. Check it out, family. The fact that I got to send out a permission slip to teach something, I mean, doesn't that make you think right there? Appreciate you, Steve Bless.
This on there and a link to show you what material she will be learning. I did some research, and you will be astounded, oh my gosh, blown away by what they are trying to teach my 5th grader.
So, as you can hear, the woman is pretty much going to explain what this curriculum entailed of that they're going to teach to her 5th grader. So let's see. Well, what age range around would you be if you're in 5th grade? Possibly, I want to say like 12 or 13. No older than 14. I remember when I was in high school, I was probably 14. So if you're in 5th grade, you're probably almost a teenager or a preteen. So keep that in mind too, family. You're a preteen. You're adolescent, still necessarily a child. So at this point in time, is this information going to be taken into consideration with maturity from this child? Is this information obviously coming from these adults who have the knowledge to teach? Are they going to be able to package it in a way that is innocent? Let's find out.
Watch this video. It is absolutely disgusting.
Yes, come on, yes, oh yes. What are you doing there? You've had an apple one day. You'll go blind. I'm coming. How many times is too many to masturbate in one day?
Mic check, testing, 1, 2. I hope everyone can hear me loud and clear. Testing. All right, family. We're gonna get straight into it here. Mic check. Peace and blessings, my people. Peace and blessings. Man, as you guys can see, the title of this video is going to be an open panel, pretty much discussing questions, concerns, and solutions regarding the educational system in the United States. If you guys don't know already, just by checking some of the content, you can tell in the field of education, and not the traditional education. I am in the field of therapeutical services. I provide services along the lines of ABA, so alternative teaching or applied behavior analysis is the type of teaching that I service the youth with. And man, I've been noticing throughout my educational journey of being a student and now even being an educator, there have been some questions and concerns that I've had personally, and the majority of what I've been speaking about, the question that I have is is the information useful that they're trying to pretty much get us to learn in these schools? And I just wanted to open up the panel, open up the conversation to my YouTube family, see if we got some people who also may have some issues or concerns going through the schooling system, and if there are any others who have a platform that are also educators, if there are concerns or even solutions regarding the education system. Hey, that's what we're here for. And, I hope that this conversation will be nothing less than edifying, motivating and encouraging for us to come up with these solutions to be able to implement within our society to have a functional education system. And so today, family, they're just pretty much going based off of the vibes that I see in the chat, man. We're opening up the lines. I'm going to be answering some questions that I see, letting people up on a panel. I do have a video that I want to pretty much go off of to have some talking points. So right now, I'm going to play this video. It is called Why the Education System is Failing in America. I felt like this would be a great video to be able to add on to the context of our conversation here. So fair use, fair use. We'll be using this video for commentary, edifying, and learning purposes. I do see we have a couple of people in the chat, man. If everything is coming through clear on you guys' end, if the audio is coming through clear, if the video is coming through clear, let me know. Give me a fist bump, give me a one, Hey, let's get this engagement up. You feel me? Hey, Sovereign Empress is in the building. Shalom, what it do, fam, what it do? And so, just wanted to go ahead and let's get down to it. Let's go ahead and open up this video and see what the context of the conversation is about. See if we can add on some insights. See if we can add on some questions about the educational system that we see and some concerns. And hey, more than anything, solutions. All clear so far. Appreciate you. Appreciate that feedback. Hey, all right. Greatness, brother, greatness. Iron frequencies in the building. Salute, salute. What it do, what it do. All right, give me a second, family, as I bring up our video. Here we go. It's been a while. You guys can see, man, I don't have all my regular compartments with me. Been going through a little bit of production issues on my end. So I'm glad everything's running clear, running smooth on the stream, man. So we just gonna get it in. And I know this has been a conversation I've been yearning to have. I've been holding it off for quite some time. And hey, just felt like today was a great day to be able to express, communicate, come together with like-minded people, and let's pretty much come up with solutions regarding this educational system that we have here in the United States. So let me know also, I'm about to play the video, if you can hear the audio on the video, if the video is coming through clear, and if there's no doubling in the audio, please let me know.
Sex education is an economic justice issue.
We could have kids.
First and foremost, 5 seconds into the video, you already see what they're trying to talk about educating children on. And at the end of the day, family, I reiterated this in a couple of videos in the past. This has been something that I've been very adamant on. At the age of an adolescent, at the age of a child, there is, in my humble opinion, there is no appropriate way to approach a child about the exploration of sex education. You feel me? That's like giving rocket science papers to a 10-year-old. They're not just on that level yet to be able to put those parts together, understand the quantum physics. They're not on that level yet to understand and go through to experience that information to be able to digest it and have something tangible from it. It's gonna, in my opinion, it's gonna cause more harm than it does help if we're introducing topics that a child is literally not ready to learn yet. And for schooling systems, for even YouTube to feel as though their platforms to teach children, it's appropriate to share these concepts. Hey, I'm looking at it and I'm gonna call it how I see it. Any adult that speaks to a child in regards to sex education that is not your child, that is obviously you don't have any relationship or dealing with this child outside of the schooling environment, any teacher, any educator who stands up in a classroom and exposes and influences their kiddos about this sex education topic, I consider them to be a pedophile. Point blank, period. I consider this person who puts it on the suit to be able to talk to little kids about their growing bodies, I consider that person a pervert. Because at the end of the day, you're perverting, you're changing the use of that child into something. Obviously, can they even operate and understand those concepts? No, they can't. To the point where you have adults that still don't understand the concept of educating themselves sexually. Why would you feel as though there's a need, there's some type of creating a agenda to push these concepts? It's completely absurd. And one of the last videos that I made, I proposed a question to these so-called educators that take that role on trying to influence kiddos. What benefit, what progress, what empowerment does a 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old, even a 9-year-old, I'm talking about ages pre-teen, what empowerment do they receive from being educated about sex? And have we ran out of topics to teach children that we have to revert to something just so taboo? Because at the end of the day, you're not going to have anyone talk to your child about sex education. No, you're going to go to an expert. You're going to go to someone who is knowledgeable about the subject. And let's just be real. Someone who is an expert or someone who is knowledgeable about the subject of sex, is that really the type of person you want around your child? All I can do, family, is share with you guys my opinion, my experience, to say that is not someone I want around my child. That isn't even someone I run around myself. To say that they're on the guise of being an educator in sex. Okay, how'd you get all of that information? How'd you acquire that experience? And many people, I'm starting to see out here in this world, were introduced to the topics of sex at a very, very young age, where, hey, if I had the platform to bring on these people and question and ask them, I'm pretty certain at least 95% of people will say that that information or the time that they were influenced to be somewhat knowledgeable about their sex education, was it really beneficial? Was it really empowering? Did it give them a sense of purpose? And when you learn something, when you're a teacher, to say your goal is to give information to kids to help them be successful in life. You would think that that will be the goal of teachers, to be able to say, hey, you need to know what math is. You need to know what numbers are. And if 3 plus 3 equals 6, and if you take 3 away, how many do you have? These are functional skills to have. These are important skills to have that will empower this kiddo to know the difference between numbers and to know how many more they would need in order to reach a total or an amount. So it's like, yeah, these are concepts. Language is a concept that will empower a kiddo. The more words a kiddo knows, the more that they can express themselves, the more that it will give them power to be able to go out and do whatever it is that they need to do in this world. Let's just say art class. Art class teaches you the skill of using your hands, using your mind, creativity to be able to come up with something that you literally create. That is a useful skill. That is a sense of empowerment. You can actually monetize the skill of someone creating art. You can monetize the skill of someone being a mathematician. You can monetize the skill of someone. Come on now. You guys going along with me? You can monetize the skill of someone being well versed in language arts. These are skills that create empowerment. These are things that teachers, obviously, when they sit in front of the classroom, are they really thinking about empowering the kiddos? Or is it just based on, hey, there's an agenda we have to teach this concept. Yeah, it's not really going to turn these kiddos into self-sufficient, purposeful adults. We just want to share this information to them. And with all due respect, there's a place and time, yeah, that information can be shared. And all I'm saying is that information should come from someone very trustworthy with the parents, very trustworthy around kids. And obviously, there's some purpose behind it and not just wanting to go along with an agenda. So let's keep going. Let's keep going here. Why is the education system failing in America? Let's hear these first 5 seconds. See if this answer, if there's even an answer to this question.
Sex education is an economic justice issue.
We could have kids learn more in school if we raise standards.
We understood our curriculum and we were basically thrown a curveball.
I don't think the way.
Another question I got. Truthfully, what is the standard? The standards, obviously, they change every day now. Not only do the standards change, but then you have people grading based off of not so much skill nowadays, but compliance. You have these teachers grading students, failing or passing them based on not what they can produce, but how well they comply. It's different out here.
Wages match sort of the level of expectation of the position.
Teachers literally have the future of the country in front of them every day.
Facts. So let's talk about it in the chat. Let me know. Let me get some feedback. Once again, I did put the link in there as well if I do have a few individuals who wanted to come up and share some of their insights. But why do you think the education system in America is failing? What do you think is happening within these teaching environments that has these kiddos not really performing at a high standard? What do you think is taking place within these boardrooms of curriculum creating that's taking away the empowerment and sharing information that is actually useful? And so I see you in the chat. We are live. Who is this? Yasho Bam. I see you asking about Christianity. I don't know if you can see the title of this video, but the title of this video does not say anything about Christianity in it. For content purposes, I will engage with you, but let's try to stay on topic here. I definitely hear what you're talking about, though. And so just giving you your attention or whatever it is that you want to be able to discuss. You got 30 seconds. If you want to hop on the panel, I do have the link in the chat. So I'm all for letting people come up and share their insights, but I'm just letting you know that has nothing to do with the topic of discussion. So just to reiterate, family, when I do go live, I do have certain topics that I want to discuss about, and many times you will have people who see my channel and the things that I advertise. Yeah, I'm very, very faith-based, and I believe in the Most High. I read the Bible, and I teach the Bible. You know, I teach actually the laws of the Bible. So I do have some people who come over on this channel and, you know, they come with their rebuttals or certain things that they see in their spirit where they want to question, I guess, the idolatry of Jesus Christ. And obviously we have Yashobam here. Yashobam, I hope I'm saying your name correctly, brother. But if you would like to, you can come on the panel and have the conversation, 30 seconds, just to be able to, whatever you need to get out, I'm allowing it, family. So let's see if he joins the panel. If not, hey, it is what it is. He said he wants to discuss idolatry with me right quick. Okay. All right. And so I'm going to give this brother a couple more seconds to see if someone is joining in the link. If not, we'll continue on with our conversation. I do apologize for the people that are tuning in that want to keep this conversation going about the questions, concerns, and solutions regarding the educational system. Okay. He said give him a minute. So once again, hey, I appreciate you interacting and engaging, and I can't wait to have you on, brother. I will definitely wait one more minute, and we'll see what this brother has to say. I hope everybody is all well in the chat, though. Hope everybody's having a blessed day. Kind of stopping my conversation here because I don't even want to keep going on until the brother, obviously, he comes through and says his sentiments. Hey, we got Eli Sovereign Empress in the building. What it do? What's the word? What's going on? Long time no see.
What's good? I'm trying to make sure I got this up here right. Okay.
Gotcha.
I did want to speak about this topic specifically because this is something that I'm not just passionate about it. This is something that I actively do all the time. So I'm a homeschool mom myself, and there's several reasons for it. I grew up as a homeschooler in high school. For one thing. So that's my experience with it. But also, my son's extremely advanced mentally. So obviously, you know, having like curated classes, I was in advanced classes, but we see that they're not fully catering to special children in that sort of way. A lot of times. Unless you're going to an extremely prestigious school, private school. And I'll be honest, I'm not able to do that right now. So I'm not even going to be dishonest and lie about that. So I choose to homeschool for multiple reasons outside of that. There's certain things that I would like for my son to know about that even private schoolers don't necessarily get the chance to explore. So, for example, there's these kits that were sent out for free actually by the Federal Reserve. This is called A Story of Interest and Supervision. and it teaches about finances, about this country and how they operate in that context of economics. And teaching children how to operate in this country is so important. So why is it that a lot of these curriculums seem to do the exact opposite?
Hey, I'm waiting to get up there in those tables, man, sit down with those people and obviously ask those questions, because I'm starting to see the same thing.
So since you mentioned that is exactly what I've been doing. And that's one of the things about like having platforms like these are cool. They're cool. But the people that we would like to reach don't necessarily watch them all the time. And so you kind of got to get in the face about things. And of course, in a respectful way. But this is what I've been doing over the past year. So since February, I've been intentionally with the people who implement certain policies, and I've been reaching out to them as well to get them, whether it's to implement my specific programs, because I do have a homeschool kit for multiple topics. But let's say, for example, right? Yasharallah Hebrew, is that correct? I want to make sure that I have that correct about your faith.
Yasharallah, Israel.
Okay, cool. I wanted to make sure that I got it right, because I saw the Christianity comments earlier, and I was just like, I don't think that's accurate.
You see, you got the people coming in the chat after they see, obviously, my spirit, man.
So I'll read this a little bit. And the reason I asked that was because my two homeschool kits, one of them is based on entrepreneurship strictly. I taught real estate for years online, so I made it to where parents are able to create a business with their children, so a family business that is also faith-based, because it's the purpose behind it. It's gaining access for your family, for your children. So the other one I made is called New Age Investing. So that sounds woo-woo, but it's the concept of knowing about the technological advancements that are happening. So that's the New Age technology. It's that concept, while also being faith-based. So whatever it is that you know about, whatever it is that you have as a belief system, you make sure you allocate your morals towards what it is you're doing in business. So it's not about greed, it's not just about money, and it's not just about I'm going to invest for a return. Also, what does God think about this? So I've been reaching out to all these people for a long time, and this is one of the recent emails that I sent out. Like, this is real stuff, like meeting people in person and sending them emails. And it's entitled Educational Innovation with Entrepreneur-Based Curriculum, and I put real estate. I said, great day. I put my name, and recently met with the commissioner at this particular event that happened August 24th. As an author and entrepreneur, I expressed how those who are in Generation Y and Z can learn ways to start their own businesses, specifically in the real estate investment space. So I went on to share my ideas and concepts, and that's me with the commissioner holding my book. So my whole thing is like, okay. We got to get more active. In general, we got to get more active. We have to do more stuff like that, because expressing ourselves, like, this is a very, very good thing. Having these conversations with everyone, seeing everyone's perspective, that's a great thing. And at the same time, getting conversations like these in front of people like that, because they're the ones in charge. We're talking about the public school system. It's ran by whoever is in charge, whether it's commissioners, superintendents, those in the school board, executive lead, administration, the whole rundown of all that. And people talking about these political competitions happening, and they're focused on the top dog, and it's like, you gotta go next door and talk to the politician who actually affects you and your child. Like, the top dogs only, they're really not even doing much that's gonna affect you. But there's meetings like these locally that everyone can go to. Not everyone has to implement like a whole curriculum reset, but to raise concerns about the things that you're talking about, because like the concept of what you mentioned initially. What benefit is it for a young, small child to learn about their physical body and attraction to another physical body? What does that benefit them actually? that's not something that they can take and implement for their gifts, talents, and abilities. Everybody's gonna eventually have some sort of partner somewhere. That's just life. That's just gonna happen. Knowing how to live as a law-abiding citizen is even more important. Learning how to live as a successful citizen is more important. Everybody has to pay taxes, or everyone benefits from the payment of taxes. So learning these systems is way more important than what's my identity. We didn't have an identity crisis before. That wasn't a thing. That wasn't confusion. It just was what it was, and everyone was okay. Now it's like the focus is on things that don't help someone develop. They took out home ec. What's that called? Wood shop.
Mhm.
I remember there used to be some auto mechanic classes that boys would go to mostly. I learned how to sew when I was younger, but I didn't learn that at school. I learned that at home.
Come
My
on
mom
now.
taught me that. You know,
Got the skills over here. Got the skills.
I had a rip in my blanket yesterday. I just sewed it up today. Actually, it wasn't yesterday. I just got my needle and thread and sewed up that hole in my blanket. And I'm like, there's people who don't know how to do this. There's people. I just made some omelets, and there's people who don't know how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But we have this identity conversation with young children, rather than things that you need food to survive. Whether you're a chef, private chef, work at a restaurant, you still have to know how to cook for yourself. You can't always buy microwave food. You can't always buy takeout. You can't always buy delivery.
Says who? Hey, these doctors out here recommending everything. But Miss Eli, I humbly apologize. I did tell Yashobam that I was going to give him some time to be able to express some of his, his talking point. So I'm going to bring him up on the stage. Here is Yashobam up on the stage. What's going on, brother?
Yeah, salute. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Just wanted to obviously have that face-to-face conversation, but given what you said in the chat, it was a bad time for you to cam up. So would love to hear what you have to speak.
Yeah, well,
And
it's
if
going
we
to
can
be...
make it, my apologies. And if we can obviously completely off topic from what this title is about. So if we can make it between a minute, 2 minutes, hey, I highly appreciate it.
All right, yeah, it's a quick thing, so I'm going to get this out the way. But I hear an echo in the background.
Good on my end.
That's weird.
I hear that echo as well, so I'm muted just in case it's my microphone. So I don't know.
All right, anyway, so let me just get straight to this, man. Are you familiar with Deuteronomy chapter 24?
Is that what you just posted in the chat?
Yeah, so I'm going to read that. And probably like one other thing, and just let you kind of marinate on that and see if that kind of planted the seeds. So in verse 16 of Deuteronomy chapter 24 says, well, first of all, let me just say I'm Torah only. Like the Holy One of Israel only. That's my stance. So I just need to know where I'm coming from. No JC, nobody died for your sins. So in Deuteronomy chapter 24, verse 16, it says, the father shall not be put to death for the children, and the son shall not be put to death for the father. Everyone shall be put to death for their own sins. Now, I'm going to just leave a quick comment about that by saying that how is it that nobody can die for your sins? Everybody's held accountable for themselves, yet in the New Testament, somebody died for your sins. It's a contradiction right there. And then in Ezekiel chapter 18, I believe that is. 18. Verse 19. But you will say, why is not the son born the iniquity of the father? Because the son is wrought judgment and mercy, has kept all my statutes and done them. He shall surely live. But the soul that sins shall die, and the son shall not bear the iniquity of the father, nor shall the father bear the iniquity of the son. The righteousness of the righteous shall be upon him, and the iniquity of the transgressor shall be upon him. So everybody is held accountable for themselves. Now, that's something you can kind of meditate on, right? And you can read Isaiah chapter 45 and other chapters in Isaiah. You can read various other chapters in that book where it says that he's the Holy One, and besides him, there is no Savior. Yet in the New Testament, it says that Christ is the Savior of the world. But there's only one Savior. So how can there be any other Savior when scriptures say that the Creator would not give his glory to another, nor his praise to graven images? That's all I wanted to say. So hopefully that's something you can meditate on. But if you stay on what you want to stay on and not question that, then that's fine too.
Appreciate you for sharing your sentiments. Okay. All right. So, moving on, Miss Eli. I appreciate you for, obviously.
Oh, I forgot to mention before. It's pronounced Ellie.
Ellie. All right, Ellie. My bad. See, I'm glad we live. You feel me? We get to interact. Ellie. I should have remembered that because we did some building in the past.
It's
okay. Yeah, my bad. Ellie. All right. We in here. So, just trying to pick up from our conversation, obviously, just took a whole 360 there. But reintroducing that aspect of saying, are the things that we're learning in these classrooms applicable to success? Is it applied to actually developing who we are as purposeful people and having some type of job in the society?
People get triggered. People get so triggered because it's like, oh, I don't want to work a 9 to 5. I don't want to work a job. I don't want to work for corporate. It's like you're missing the point. Everyone has always had a job. Everyone has always having a job has always existed. Yes, we live in corrupt capitalism right now. That's a result of people not taking accountability. If we're going to mention what was stated before, everyone's accountable for their own actions. Just saying, trying to make it relate.
Ellie.
So everyone's always had a job. To take it back we can take it back to tribal days. You got the hunters and the gatherers. At the end of the day, every mother has a job. Every single mother, every single father has a job. You have to, whether it's the mother, I breastfed. That takes accountability for me to be healthy and measure my body and make sure I'm doing the right things to feed my child. That's a whole job. Father provides to make sure that the mother can eat healthy, to make sure that she provides for their child properly. That's a job. Just because someone's not issuing a paycheck. Paychecks are new. Like I said, hunter-gatherers, you go get the animal and you eat it. That's the paycheck. You know? So a lot of people have been struggling with this concept of not being valued, not being paid fairly, and we also have this situation of a caste system now where that didn't necessarily exist before. So we're dealing with a lot of issues that have nothing to do with the topics that people talk about. Because it's like, fair, equal pay. Women should be paid the same amount as men for the amount of effort that's shared in the workplace. While that's true, at the same time, some of these jobs don't even need to exist. Just being honest. Like processed food plants don't need to exist. All those jobs, that's a lot of jobs. It's a lot of jobs. They don't need to exist. Certain companies that produce such, it's better for them to just not exist because of the amount of pollution they produce. And they're not needed. It's not necessary items. It's not like computers. It's not like light fixtures, construction materials. Anything that is not a necessity, those companies simply don't need to exist, but how many people have jobs in those industries of unuseful items? It doesn't make sense. We're not talking about textiles. If we were talking about textiles, natural hair materials, skincare materials, or even paper companies, like, okay, like we still need paper despite all the digital stuff. Teaching children about those concepts and what the economy is and how this world goes round. And why communication is important. Even the whole concept of children not being able to read nowadays. I didn't know how serious that was.
It's serious. So you got kids out here using technology to pretty much do the reading for them. And then at the end of the day, that's taken away from their mental capacity to be able to understand language, to even be able to communicate. So we're looking at the whole process of desocialization on a grand scale taking place within these schools, because there's not anything pretty much authentic or genuinely being communicated. Everything's through computers, everything's through a text, everything. When I look at some of the educational systems being put in place right now, I did like some research and I heard that there are some schools literally making children use AI to create projects. So you remember back in the day when we had to brain blast with each other to create, you know, whatever the teacher told us to make, a poster board of where you guys would like to travel, to say, no, they're using AI now to just give it prompts and then it's going to create whatever it is.
I'm not even 30, and back in the day, that being the real
Hey, time moves fast with technology involved, man.
I'm just like, that really was back in the day.
We had to use crayons and pencils, all these prehistoric tools. Scissors.
So it's so funny because that's so real. And the thing is too, like I said, I'm homeschool, so I recognize that this is the reality of the situation, technology. Now, we did get introduced to laptops and cell phones and iPods and tablets at school as well. So I recognize the whole thing of like AI, right? My son knows how to think. He knows how to comprehend his own thoughts. So what I have him do sometimes is use AI to help him, but we're not going to have AI like think for him. He still has to think from his own mind. Now, some things are going to make things easier for him, but it's still comprehensive. So instead of let the computer do the work and then you're done, no, you still got to write your own words. You still have to read your own words. You still have to speak out loud. He's using crayons and markers today, right now. And integrating this new stuff, just like we wouldn't be talking right now if we didn't have that development using technology and being able to integrate it for something that's useful. We could be doing something stupid on camera, like a lot of these people are doing, especially people who look like us, people who have hair like us. We know what's capable. We're using it for constructive purposes at the moment, and that's the goal, to get the younger generation to even comprehend. But just because you see somebody doing something and they're famous for it, they have a lot of clout or whatever. What's important is making sure that people are educated properly, whether it's a degree, trade, just having a lot of knowledge to apply to whatever it is they're doing, talent, skill, and being able to use that to help someone else. That's the whole aspect of everything in living. You're doing something to help someone else.
Mm-hmm. And what are the roles of teachers? Hey, I got the same cat in the tongue because I'm trying to figure it out. If you would allow, I want to continue on with a little bit more of these videos, just to be able to get some context of why they believe America's system is falling, and we can add on. Let me know if something pops out to you where you want to stop and talk about it. Otherwise I'm gonna just play it through. If I get something, we can toss it back and forth. So hey, I'm loving this conversation already, Ellie. You feel me? We in it. Hey, let me know in the chat what y'all think Is the education system failing or is it succeeding? Let me know what's up.
How would you solve this equation? For most of us, it's as simple as following a series of familiar steps to get us to that answer. Now, remember this. This is how students under Common Core were taught to solve the exact same question. First adopted in 2009,
I'm gonna have to stop right there. First and foremost, that first, subtraction 333 from 144, very simple. Didn't have other numbers involved as far as which ones you're subtracting, which ones obviously you're dealing with. Now they're talking about going over to this new teaching of subtraction, and let's just hear her explain it because I'm bewildered.
Common Core was an ambitious initiative to revolutionize the American education system. 41 states, the District of Columbia, and 4 territories signed up to participate. National leaders from Bill Gates to President Obama supported the idea of the Common Curriculum, and it cost an estimated $15.8 billion.
So, obviously, she didn't even explain, but the second one looked harder to me. What's your thoughts on that?
They do it too much.
And at the end of the day, if you cannot make things simple, and this is me speaking from an educator standpoint, and even as a father, if you cannot make things simple and straightforward, you're leaving room for confusion. And just to be able to rewind back for my viewers and for the pleasure of the content, if you guys can see, I had someone come up on the panel. And obviously, off topic, I see where he was going. I can only make my assumptions. But you have people that communicate topics and don't even know why they're communicating, to the point where I asked them a simple question. And not even just asking them a simple question, but get straight to the point. You got 30 seconds. If you can't say what you're going to say in 30 seconds, whatever comes after that is confusion in my eyes. Because if you cannot get my attention and make 1 + 1 = 2 within 30 seconds, how obviously are you a teacher? Are you someone who has that knowledge and you're able to apply it to be able to say that you can pass it on to others where they can understand it and teach others like skillfully without any aversion?
It's a lot of factors to it, to be honest. So, like the point you just made, are people able to communicate properly? People don't comprehend well. A lot of people lack good comprehension skills. They lack critical thinking skills. I didn't know how real this was until I got into this online space with, in particular, Hebrew Israelite spiritual, because I was teaching real estate at first. You can pretty much just plug in like a math system. Okay, now you got to go out into the field and you got to look at properties and stuff like that. It was simple and comprehensive. When you get into things like spirituality, religion, and belief systems, the reason that we have the problems we have today is because that wasn't done properly. And then you have individuals who you can tell that they're zealous, that they want to share the word and they want to get the love of God. Well, they want to get the word of God out there, because that's not love. What we experienced and witnessed was not love. And that's a bigger issue. So if God is love, they're not doing the work that God wants them to do in the way that they think they're doing it. And that comes with learning. They need a better teacher. Whoever's telling them to do what they're doing is not doing a good job of teaching. So, also, that clip you played, they think they slick. The equation was 333 minus 144. Why they got an angel number minus the 144, which is representative of the 144,000?
Ooh, I ain't even peeped that. I ain't even peeped that.
Because that particular number means the angels are guiding you. So they got an angel number representing angels minus the 144,000. Those are the chosen people. Why are you trying to get rid of the chosen people?
because we making too much sense during this time. That's my only observation, man. You got people who obviously come in the facade of wanting to teach or wanting to share information, but then it's like, make it simple. How can you make it simple as far as telling a little boy that they could be a little girl, on the guise of telling a little girl that they could be a boy? Make it simple to the point where an adult can understand it. And hey, in this day and time and age, I am very concerned that they are going around in classrooms, in the educational system, actually teaching that. There's teachers who sit down and tell you that if you were born a boy, you can be a girl. If you were born a girl, you can be a boy. There's doctors, people who have PhDs, doctorates, masters, all the level of educations that they necessarily could ever need in life. What's the scripture? Ever learning, forever learning, but not being able to come to the knowledge of the truth. So you have a system where now, let me just go ahead and bring back this clip. That's $15.8 billion. But is it really benefiting us to keep on investing in the system, investing in the teachers, investing in the so-called curriculum changes?
It's shocking, but not at the same time. Because when you take into account everything that this particular country has experienced, it's just dumb. It's really dumb. So you have the origin of it. You got these people who say they want things like religious freedom, blah, blah, blah. But they also express prejudice against others who have different belief systems. Our belief directly contradicts theirs because of imagery. And that imagery of this false person of who's the Lord and Savior, he really looked like us and not them, and that causes a whole debacle. Then continuing on, things like racism, not necessarily segregation, but prejudice and systematic racism, where a lot of our people are intentionally taught outdated or incorrect information. So then children graduate, go out into the world, and realize they've just been lied to. And it's like, why are people being paid to lie to me? Because the teachers who teach in those schools know that the curriculum is a lie, because they're also an adult and they have to live in the world. So what the heck is that even?
Rewind it. You said something along the lines of pretty much people being set up for failure. That's what I'm hearing. And prejudice within the educational system, where you look at myself. I promote on my platforms. I even have a teaching platform. Let's just be real. Do you know how difficult it was for me to maintain having the credentials or even wanting to get into the field, because that knowledge was not readily available to me? That knowledge, or even the people that were around me, were not even supportive of me becoming a so-called teacher. There was more direction and more information on figuring out where drug dealers hang out, figuring out where I could get a plug from, rather than where I can get a book to get these credentials from. So when you talk about information obviously being withheld, information being sometimes disregarded in terms of what a child actually is interested in, to say my whole life, hey, I want to learn how to, be a teacher. Oh, that's cool. Oh no, you're look at your skin. You're supposed to be playing basketball or, over there rapping. We're going to put this stuff in front of you and this information in front of you. But no, I want to do this. There was a lot, and I'm sharing my experience going through the educational system. There was a lot of coercion. There was a lot of persuasion tactics, as I really wanted to learn for myself of what my passions were and to be able to express that in the world. And I only met one teacher throughout my whole 30 years. And I had to wait until college for that teacher to ask me, what do you want to do with your life? How can I help you?
It's really sad. And it's great that you persevered through all that, because I witnessed certain things in my own personal life. Both of my parents being educators, my mom being in the educational system my whole life pretty much, and then my father, he spent the last 10 years in education. He didn't experience the same sort of roadblocks. You're much younger and didn't have, my dad had like the degrees and the stuff already. So by the time he entered the educational system, it was easy for him to get the job, but he also faced obstacles in expansion of his job because he didn't have a regular teaching position. He's trying to bring back the trades, and he's trying to bring back getting certified in high school, and at a young age of being able to apply what you learn and get paid at the same time, and be able to further your career in whatever aspect as a young person. He faced so many roadblocks with that part.
Mm-hmm.
Other people that look like us, they didn't like him because he's smart. They didn't like him because he had his own business already. They didn't like him because he was more educated than they were. They got 2, 3, maybe degrees. My dad has like 4, 5 degrees. They don't like that. And so they will put those roadblocks in front of him so that he couldn't. Hold on a minute. Was his job helping children? And they didn't want him to do that because they felt away? That's the problem. That wasn't even racism. It was hatred because of racism. You got people who look like us, who don't like the person with the solution because they're not the person with the solution. And that type of thinking is the reason you went through what you went through. These are people, these are principals, administrators, other teachers who are supposed to be helping each other to help the students. But you got people like that helping students when they're the ones discouraging the students.
Too many times I'm in an art class, and as you can see my channel, Divinely Artist, I wanted to go to school to make art, to say I was denied the information on how to gain an artistry through the ranks of those colleges. Hey, teach your own, deny me your school's natural talent. But this right here tells me that there's some type of disservice going on in the educational system. And let me highlight the word service because we pay the schools. That's like going to McDonald's and saying, hey, can I get a hamburger? They're like, no, but you can get some chicken nuggets. Well, why can't I get a hamburger? Because you don't have the credentials to get a hamburger. Wait, but I'm paying for it. Nah, we still don't. You don't have the portfolio to eat these hamburgers. But you're supposed to be servicing me. The education system is supposed to be servicing us. They're not supposed to be coercing us to choose an option of what we want to learn. We're supposed to be telling them what we want to learn and then receiving that service.
Exactly. I wrote a piece that's called this platform that is new now. I just started it this year. Is intentionally more for the collegiate level. It was interesting because I got it prepared when you were talking about your collegiate experience. And I'm just like, okay, well, align it with the conversation. And I have no intention of I'll say implement curriculum for college students. It's just they have more free range with the way they communicate. And what a lot of college students have to do is write essays for each class. So I would like to introduce these topics to more college students, specifically at HBCUs and like community colleges, not so much like Ivy League schools because we can leave them out of this conversation. We don't need to talk to them. So talk to HBCUs mostly and community colleges. And this essay is called Gatekeeping in Finance. How can finance be gatekept? Wealth and finance can in fact be withheld. However, the education surrounding the topic is more vital than the tangible resources themselves. Even when wealth or finances are shared, maturity and literacy are necessary for the receiver. Narratives surrounding the topic of wealth and finance tend to be geared toward fear, ignorance, and negativity, when in actuality the complete opposite is true when perspective is shifted and analyzed. Values and principles are first priority. You played that clip. They're talking about $15.8 billion being put into the educational system over the past, let me see, Obama got elected in 2008. So what is that? It's like 16 years? And now we have children that can't read.
And that's not even a laughing matter.
So the money wasn't the problem. It was the proper literacy and education that's being withheld on purpose. They just told everybody that they put the money forward. So what the heck happened?
You know what happened. I mean, all we can do is speculate until we get up there in the tables and talk to them. But to really be honest, I'm seeing a disservice coming from the educational system. I'm seeing a disservice coming from the political realm. I'm seeing a disservice overall coming from the governmental bodies that oversee this establishment. Because if you're looking, not even just looking at the data, but just observing how these children behave. Literally everybody has a camera now, so you can go on YouTube and see the intelligence of the youth moving forward. All you see is a bunch of TikTok dancing. All you see is a bunch of, little girls obviously advertising and promoting. You see a bunch of men not really having a sense or self-identity or purpose that is somewhat respectable. So where does all this come from? Are we being taught this way, or are we simply just not being taught? And if people are going to school and not being taught, there seems to be a broken system here.
So that question you asked, it's a mixture of both. It's people intentionally not being taught. The lack of Black history, the fact that Black history was condensed into 1 month, even in the public and regular educational school system, is a disservice itself. That's for one. Black history is American history. Without Black people, there is no American history. That's just the truth of the matter. And then being mistaught. When I was growing up, I went to a predominantly, not Black school. I'll just say it like that. The way I was being taught about the civil rights movement and slavery and everything was making it seem as if those issues are gone. And it's just history. This is just social studies class. This is just some stuff we're learning about. Yesterday, a Black man just got killed. In 2024, that happened yesterday. And when I was a child, I was taught that stuff like that doesn't happen anymore. It's a disservice, really.
I've had the opportunity to view not just our classroom setting. Yeah, if you know, I'm over here in Chicagoland area. I've actually sat in classroom with kids higher need in the lower equity environments. I've sat in classrooms with kids in the higher equity environments. And to say there was a completely different 180 of why my services were needed with those two different kiddos. One, you would see an extreme amount of behaviors based on just not even having materials to keep them engaged. On the other hand, you will see mild behaviors and a little non-compliance and somewhat just inappropriate behaviors, but on the guise of still being able to communicate socially, not going through any of those PTSD type of suffering diagnosis. And what that told me is these people think that it's a problem even though they have all readily available equipment and an environment set up for them. But think about the other people who don't even have the information, don't have the equipment, don't have the resources, and then it's like you're just throwing money into a pot where you're not even given any clear direction on how to improve these kiddos' lives.
I'm glad that you're doing this because I feel like this particular stream and those to come later are going to impact and touch the right people. I do genuinely believe that. So, I'm on the ground, I'm talking to these people in person, sending letters and emails and shaking hands and everything like that. And then when it comes to the online space, people who are not going to those in-person meetings, they will be able to observe and be like, okay, this does make a lot of sense. These are great points being made. It doesn't make sense to me that school drives exist. I don't think school drives should exist. I don't think that teachers should pay to decorate their classrooms. That doesn't make sense to me. The parents can buy cool clothes. They can buy, the rolly backpack or like the cool backpack. They can buy the little scrunchies on the pencils. They can buy the cool erasers. But shouldn't the school provide the school supplies?
A lot of questions. I got the same questions.
It never made sense to me. The teachers have to pay extra to make sure their classroom is, especially elementary, to make sure the classroom is engaging enough for students. They have to pay for that. Parents have to pay for their children to have the materials necessary to go to the school that they're forced to go to. If you're not intentionally homeschooling, or your job requires for you to put your child with somebody else in another environment so you can get enough hours in, you're forced to put your child into a school setting. And they're also forced to pay for it outside of, whatever clothes they want their child to wear, whatever shoes they want their child to wear.
Make it make sense.
So I wrote this as well. This is the collegiate level form of communication. I said, hey there, you're, and I named a couple of departments in the school, specifically humanities, may greatly benefit from Sulani Afro-American topics of innovation and community awareness, topics of discussion. Your success as an academic facility may greatly expand, gathering more students, more donors, more sponsors, more local recognition by expressing thought forms from your educational luminaries. And I mentioned how my new organization that I just started this year, it says what we do, marine liquidity, fiduciary flow, private equity, and research, is take the knowledge, information, and experience of small business owners and experts in fields from the perspective of Black American ladies. That information is used to express solutions to issues that Sulani citizens in the United States face on a daily basis. So taking our experiences as Black women and sharing it with, public forums in colleges so that they can have that discussion. People like to talk about politics, but we're not talking about getting someone elected. The whole purpose of a politician is to help the citizens that elect them. So if those people are discussing and actually implementing, we don't need to even do no more talking really. If they're implementing the topics at hand with actionable solutions, that's going to ripple effect and help even a newborn baby, because then we'll have better research, better conversations and communication for Black women, for Black men, Black children. Everybody benefits from that, rather than these weird competitions that people create that benefit no one for real.
Hey, and first and foremost, if there is anything that they need to educate people on about their body, it's about the color and where they come from. And obviously the discrepancy, I went through the whole schooling system, and I remember every day they had us stand up and say that Pledge of Allegiance, and I'm questioning, is there liberty and justice for all? Hey, did y'all just see what happened to that man's that was so-called, I mean, the evidence didn't show it was, there was a trial. Marcellus, I think that's what his name is going around right now. But you have that system where you would think those ideals are being upheld within the court law, which these people are supposed to have way more information about what is right and what is wrong, and supposed to be teaching society how to behave. Soon as you see the courts go down, these are the people obviously you think have the greatest judgment over morality, over teaching, and over structures. To say there's none taking place right now. No one with sensible solutions. And with all that information for the man, I didn't do too much of diving deep on that situation with him, but I did hear that he was in jail for some time. And to say, if you keeping a man in jail for that long and you don't even know if he's guilty or not, like, common sense, he's not guilty. Why is it taking you that much longer to get the information, unless you're trying to manipulate something? And this is what I see taking place in the education field. It does not take that long for a child to know their ABCs, unless you're manipulating something. I see a whole bunch of manipulation taking place within these educational environment, where it's not about you learning something that is applicable. It's not about you learning something that empowers you, to say, give you more credibility in your talent and your strength, but in the guise and in the facade of creating some type of system where it has people compliant.
I was a substitute teacher for a little while. It made me so sad. I taught this one class of, I believe they were kindergartners, and I think they were the other types of students where they needed more assistance anyway. I could be wrong. It was just a small class. It didn't have like 20 children. It had maybe... Oh, the camera just slipped. What just happened?
No, you good. You on front. You on front right now.
Oh my gosh. So the classroom only had maybe 8 students. I put the ABCs on their board, and I was like, okay, y'all, let's say the ABCs. We went A, B, C, D, E, F, you know. Then I was like, okay, let me just do something different. So I put the pointer, I put A. Then I put B. They still said B. Then I was like, let's try again. I put A. Then I put G. They still said B. And I'm like, did they program these children to be like robots or something? Because I'm obviously not pointing at the letter B right now. They memorize the ABC song, but cannot recognize the alphabetical letter that's in front of them.
Hey, so indoctrination, training. I work in the field of ABA, Applied Behavioral Analysis. It's a study scientifically that improves the functionality, skills, and behaviors of not just kids, but dogs as well, to get them to respond to a stimulus. And it is not always natural. It is not always something that is genuinely, seeing how me and you can have a conversation, and we're having a live conversation where you have to respond back to me with something that I'm speaking from and not something that I'm prompting you. There are a bunch of people out here nowadays that can only speak or can only reiterate and can only faction a thought based on someone prompting them to. You had this guy who came into the chat, right? And I see a lot of characters like him. And I really want to use him as a learning and teaching stool as we talk about this so-called education system. Because now I want to derail it into the religious system as well. You have these people who do not know how to communicate. All they literally do is go around and say the same thing over and over again to people, where they don't know how to have a conversation real time with a person to identify subject matters that are being spoken about, to the point where if I'm talking to you about education and then you get to talking to me about ice cream, what would you think that I would consider you as? I just asked you a question about education and you brought up the color ice cream. You brought up your favorite flavor of ice cream. You know, I want to hear what you think I would think you are, or you feel me? Would I think that you're a functioning person who understood the words that came out of my mouth, or is this just a person operating just like you said, hey, I'm pointing at the ABCs, but they keep on saying B. I'm pointing at different letters, but they keep on saying B. I have a whole title in this video that I'm literally having a discussion on, but this person keeps on talking about something else. And make it make sense. This is not us talking about Christianity right now. This is us talking about school. Or in your space, this is not me talking about all the other letters. This is me talking about this one letter. What is it? So in real time, we're seeing this affect adults. We're seeing this trickle down and actually affect children.
It's very interesting that you brought up your specific field, ABA. I'll need to be reminded exactly what it means, but I remember the word behavior. So I do the same thing as a content creator. You got, people in the comment section, they just say whatever. But we also know as content creators, there are robots. There are actual computers that, they just send out little gadgets and with blah, blah, blah to content creators like us just to throw us off in the comment section. But then when it's not a robot, and it's an actual comprehensive, conscious being, it's like, oh my, okay. I had a lot of that last night. I was expressing my emotions. I was expressing how I was feeling. I did speak on the Marcellus Williams situation. I tried to stay away from it. I'll spend my time trying to drown out my sorrows. I'll just scroll on TikTok and look at funny stuff. Everybody was talking about Marcellus Williams. I learned by default. Over 1 million people signed a petition. So many people protested, went in person to assist with that particular situation. And what happened still happened. And it was just really sad to see that systematic racism is still in full action. It didn't dilute, not one bit. It had on lipstick at first, it had on makeup, now it's raw face. You can see it. And when you have situations where it felt mean to myself before. I started just calling it out for what it was, specifically on my platform, and I would see it on other people's platforms. A lot of our people simply don't have good comprehension skills, and some are a bit slow in the mind, and it's okay. It's just no one has made the accommodations for people to survive with that sort of thing going on. Because there's ways to teach people who are a little bit underdeveloped. I know it for a fact. There's people who I've been around, whether relative or stranger turned friend, who do have lapses in their way of being able to comprehend things. There's ways to teach them, and there's ways for them to be able to operate in the world. Nobody, like it's not enough of that. And family support doesn't exist in that way. And it's like, it's just sad. It's really just sad because we are focused on children. You know, my child has been able to read since he was like 2. I would read books with him. He probably no, actually it was before because he couldn't speak all the way. But when I would read books with him, he would know when the book was upside down. So he'd pick up the book, see it, and it would be upside down. He would flip it around in preparation to read it. So he knew what was going on, and he was able to identify that. Where you have children who will sit in class, be pretending to read, but you know they're not reading because the book's upside down. And that whole ability to have conversations. What'd you say?
The teachers still get paid.
If I'm not even gonna go there. I'm not gonna go there. Just okay. It's true. It's true. The No Child Left Behind grant. I never read it. I never wanted to. But children being left behind it sounds bad. But is the child not being left behind, or do people not care enough to make sure that they're not behind in life? There's a big difference between graduating school and being ready for life.
And if we taught life in school, wouldn't kids be ready? Like, hey. If we talk concepts that you can apply to your life after school, like this really causes my frustration and jumble my words up, as you can see, as you can hear. The fact that there are people pushing sex education on kiddos who are 10 and younger, where it's like, do these kids even know how to read a book? Do these kids even know how to express, hey, I'm feeling frustrated, I'm feeling such a way, this way? And then not only do they know how to express that, but do they know how to understand themselves to bring them into a situation where they can physically get out of those emotions? That, first and foremost, social, emotional language should be the first things we should be implementing within these children's years of adolescence. When you start to, once again, pervert or manipulate what these children are learning by making these tasks a little longer than what they need to be, that gives that you're literally programming them to have those latency latency issues, so an increased response time to someone actually communicating to them, because then it's like, oh snap, I gotta work down all of these unnecessary functions in my brain and now I can communicate to you. 5 + 5 = no, I gotta take 3 away from 6, I gotta do this and do that. That's what they taught me in school. Oh, it equals this. Why did it take so long? Well, that child was taught to go through another process of thinking before they respond with the answer. I see a lot of this, and I work with special education needs children. I work with children diagnosed with autism, developmental delays. Those children, obviously, when they put them in a classroom and there's only 1 or 2 teachers and there's 20 other kids in the classroom, you tell everybody to stand up and get in line. This kiddo doesn't know what's going on. I work with literally one-on-one with these kiddos to help them improve those skills. And in my field, I'm starting to see a lot more of these kiddos come through. And this is to say how many are already in the schooling system and are not getting the care, are not getting that attention to be able to help them be successful, rather than just putting them into a classroom just because mommy and daddy got to go to work.
It's really sad because like I mentioned, my mom, she worked in education, working with the special needs students for it was quite a while, most of my childhood. So I would go to school early. I would be in the classroom with the students and everything. And it would be funny because it's like people don't see delayed individuals as people. I don't know what the perception is, but sometimes they're the smartest people, and people don't know how to cater to their intellect, so they just write them off as not so much of a person. But you have this person who may not be able to verbally communicate that well, but they're so talented in mathematics. Or you have someone who has a speech impediment of some sort and is really extreme, yet they're such a good writer. They can't speak what they're writing, but they are so smart and are so talented in language arts. And that ability to be able to cater to that individual and help them to be able to express and grasp other concepts in a stronger way is even when you have people who are not mentally delayed and they're regular students, regular functioning people. They just do things a little bit different than probably the majority of students or whatever. You just don't have a whole lot of teachers who cater to that. It's almost like, why did these people become teachers in the first place? Why did these people become administrators in the first place? Why did they become principals in the first place? If it's not about so much grades, not grade level student, but if the least performing student is only not performing well because they don't have the accommodations necessary for them to perform well, then how you can't be proud of the highest excelling student. A lot of them come from, you mentioned the contrast of someone who had resources, someone who did not have resources. That person probably just had better resources at home. They probably got a tutor that their parents paid for. Their parents may actually help them with their homework. When you have someone who doesn't have the parents who can help them with homework, it's so many factors that, of course, the education system needs to be held accountable, but then you have the grand scheme of things of how parents interact with their children in general. Whose parents are approving these conversations that you're concerned about as far as identity and sexuality? Who is approving that, and why is that being pushed to such young students? Because I was someone who experienced certain things at a younger age. You know, pretty much, I'll just say I hit puberty early. So I had to have individual conversations, and the school did not have those types of conversations until everyone was a bit older. But I had a one-off experience. Everybody in my classroom wasn't going through puberty. That was just me, and that was based on my parents having to deal with me a certain way versus the rest of the students. They weren't ready to hear those things because it wasn't necessary. Though we were all older and it was necessary to hear about those things. It's like, okay, well, cool. That makes sense. But to push it on students younger and younger, I didn't know about none of that stuff. Even when I hit puberty, I didn't know what it was. But there's people who put this stuff around their children all the time. And you got like little baby kids making perverted jokes.
Just to share with you some of my experience working in the educational field, I've seen these kids at very young ages elaborate, putting fingers in places. And I'm like, dude, you're like, this is a second grade class. And they had me there for this little kid because he was experiencing behaviors. But then these are the behaviors he's experiencing. Them. But on the other end, the kiddo who looks just like me are in these schools with ain't even got AC. They don't have a projector. They don't even have books that are put together. They don't have computers. They don't have, monitors where they can interact and socialize with the teachers as far as doing some interactive gaming with them. Like, of course this kiddo is gonna be like, get me up out of here. I want to get up out of here, versus the kiddo who's over there just talking about things going up in places. Which one is misbehaving versus which one is just inappropriate, or which one is needs more care versus which one obviously just needs to be guided into an appropriate fashion. And you ask the question is, whose parents are these sitting up on boards pretty much administering and signing up and saying, hey, we'll teach these? Let's just say these parents are the ones that are in these family structures that are not natural. I'm going to just be real. If you're teaching a kid that is not your kid anything about sexuality, I don't look at that as you being courageous. I look at you as being an adult trying to manipulate a kid and literally perverting their way of thinking. Because at the end of the day, a kid is not even supposed to be there's ratings for TV shows, right? PG, PG-13, why is there not ratings for how we communicate certain information in certain language? And if it is okay, we don't need to show it in a cartoon version. Let's show them the real deal. And that's where people get really standoffish on. Okay, then it's not. If you're going to put it into a cartoon to package up, oh, let's make sex fun, then that tells me right there, this is not an appropriate topic. So whose parents are administering this? What society is actually bringing in these teachers? And one of the things that I experienced, I actually asked a college professor who was an entrepreneur teacher. And as I was going through his class, I'm over here explaining to my students. Well, I thought they were my students because I took over the class, because I'm like, hey, I'm an entrepreneur. I could teach on this. I actually have a business. I run my own custom t-shirt business. I'm telling people, look, I got orders right now to teach over there. Hey, man, you sit down. What you trying to do? Teach my class? I'm like, well, where's your business that you can teach us from? The whole class got quiet. He looked at me. I looked at him. He was like, I don't need it. I don't need a business. I got this job because one of my friends got it for me. College, bachelor's degree, the level of communication that takes place from these so-called experts, you would think, and they can't even share with you their own experience in the field that they're sharing knowledge on.
That's the issue behind the illusion of education. Because even in the comments, it says, school doesn't teach us about life, it teaches us about the matrix. Let's start there. What you just said is a whole matrix illusion. Why would you learn about entrepreneurship from someone who's never been an entrepreneur? It's okay for them to teach about corporate. It's okay for them to teach about teaching. Teaching someone how to do a skill and how to progress in a certain way that they have no experience in, all they can do is relay information from a book. That's it. And I don't necessarily believe that that's wrong. It's just to stop a student at that step in order for them to be qualified to run their own business, getting a degree rather. Because you don't need a degree to run a business. Stopping a student at that level in order to get a degree to say, I have a degree in entrepreneurship or business or administration, whatever. They could even teach about roles in a business. I work for a startup. I work for, that's the illusion. And that's the whole going way back into the conversation. The fact that we were lied to. A lot of people are just simply being lied to, so they can't value true education. Because there's so much illusionary concepts of education and lying, just intentional lying. And then people get sensitive when you say things like that. Oh, well, what are your credentials and your qualifications of teaching this subject? Well, I have a degree. Okay, so if we got somebody teaching about doctor stuff, medical, anything, and then you say, well, what's your experience? Oh, well, I got my degree. No, I'm going to need to learn from a nurse. I'm going to need to learn from someone who has a doctoral practice of some sort. I'm going to need someone who worked in the ER. I'm going to need somebody who worked as a pediatrician. What's happening? Then the other topic you spoke on as far as sex education and how it's being pushed, the way that it's being pushed. If what you said was taken literally and it was put into a frame of T-shows and the real thing, don't try to cartoon it. Talk to them in the real thing. Why aren't they being taught about pedophilia? I didn't know that was a word until, I don't know, maybe high school. So if children are being taught, hey, sometimes grown-ups are not safe, and you have to make sure that you know, they do the whole talking to whether it's trusted adult, authorities, whatever. If that's what they were being taught, and it was less that until they became teenagers and, puberty talks and stuff like that, that would make so much more sense. But to talk about identity at such a young age, look, man, we know whether you look at statistics or you just have a conversation with someone. Most of the people who are part of the LGBTQ plus community experienced some sort of trauma as a child, and they did not have a trusted adult to go to, or that trusted adult ended up not being so trustworthy. They wouldn't be living the lifestyle they live most of the time. So if it was taught in that frame and concept and it was realistic in the way that you directly said it, it would make sense. But is it being taught that way? Absolutely not.
Man, hey Ellie, we ain't even need the videos. Man, let me at least play a little bit, see what they talk about. But hey, big words. Hopefully people in the context of the comments are able to follow along with some of the guys that we've been pointing out here. The education system, in my opinion, is falling. There has been a lack of teachers who are genuine in the fact of sharing the knowledge that you would think that a teacher is passionate about what they're doing. Where's all this $15.8 billion going to teach our kids to be successful in life?
To implement.
They thought standards were just too low in the U.S. and that we could have kids learn more in school if we raised standards. Quite frankly, they didn't really trust the schools to do this on their own.
One of the most challenging aspects was we understood our curriculum and we were basically thrown a curveball into what it was and had to really adopt new practices.
But a couple of years after its launch, it was met with confusion and ridicule.
Some of the math items that were mocked, I think, deserved to be mocked, frankly. They were just very poor items.
People deserve to know the truth, but it wasn't the truth. I was 15 in 1977, and I'll be 30 next week. I don't think that math checks out. I don't get math. I went to school in the 2000s, and we were taught Common Core.
All of a sudden, parents were having to help their kids with math homework that they couldn't quite grasp because they hadn't been taught math that way.
So how can the...
And so now you got to teach a child what a boy and a girl was because they're not being taught that way in a classroom. And I really want to retell it and bring this back in discussion as far as people literally being fake, a facade. You have a teacher who can sit in front of you and say, hey, I'm the counselor for this entrepreneur class, but it's not even an entrepreneur. You have a doctor who can say, hey, I'm a doctor, but truthfully, is not even a doctor. And now you have on the facade and on the taboo scale and range where you can have a man sit up and talk to you about what it means being a woman. Hey, what's next? What are some solutions?
So as far as solutions, when I go into rooms and I talk to people about solution actions, I have a product that I sell as far as the parents being directly involved. As entrepreneurs, I recognize that not everybody's in that space of being an entrepreneur. So sitting down and having a creative curriculum as a homeschooler would not make too much sense for them. So how I approach the political system with this is creating a curriculum for teachers to be able to teach students and have homework that makes sense. So the topics that people really need to know about the most: mental and emotional health and financial literacy. A lot of these issues arise because people don't know how to manage their finances. Pretty much everybody has a job, a hustle, something, but people don't know where to put the money to not just survive, but to make sure that there's generational wealth being shared. And this is my thing. No beef with the Bible thumpers. I read my text, okay? It's no beef with y'all. It's just y'all don't be talking about the things that are applicable and make sense. You'll hear women being told to be a Proverbs 31 wife. Hold on. I thought the book of Proverbs was written for men. Proverbs 31 was a woman speaking to her son. So that's a guide for a man to know what to look for in a woman. Doesn't Proverbs 31 say to marry a entrepreneur woman that invests in real estate? Isn't that directly what Proverbs 31 says? She has a vineyard. And she also sells the trinkets and items that she makes, her crafts. That sounds like entrepreneurship. That sounds like investing in real estate to me. So, if that's what a man's supposed to look for in a wife, why is all this other stuff being promoted? All that other stuff is being promoted. So, teaching about things like financial literacy and also generational wealth and what that actually means. So, if we're talking about math, right? We have things like compound interest. You have things like taxes and what that actually means in every single state. The tax number, whether it's sales tax or amount that people have for income taxes, whatever, it differs. If a child is taught, hey, you're going to have 40% of your finances taken away from you. If they're taught that 30% is going to be taken away from you. If they're taught that 8 to 9% is going to be added to when you go shopping every single time. Put that in the math equation. They can use that. That's going to help them as an adult person. You're going to have to pay rent. You're going to have to pay a mortgage. You're going to have to put down a down payment. Aren't those usable math equations? Johnny have 5 apples ain't going to help nobody.
Hey. How if a train leaves at this station, another train leaves over here?
Who cares?
Unless I'm dealing with train derailments in Ohio. I'm not.
No, that's so funny. Let me stop. No. Because that really happened. That's sad.
But once out of, 15, 20 years, and so it's like they're literally programming our kids to respond to these situations that rarely show up in life. And so when something real does show up, again, me or you, as simple as asking the ABCs, and we're going over the ABCs, and then now we answer a real-time question. What letter is this? And they're like, A, B, C, D. No, what letter? A, B, C. Like, you see a whole bunch of people literally reiterating, well, if this train left from over here and this train left from over here, then there's going to be a probability that the time frame. No, I just asked you how much you got to pay in rent. And how much a percentage of that is taken out of your gross net income.
It's the concept that my homeschool kit and the curriculum that I am developing currently, what it introduces is a way of having multiple subjects around the same exact situation. So I'll just use this as an example. So I have these workbooks and everything. It's a comic book setting. So as a comic book, it has sentences. So obviously you have like the thought bubbles or the speaking bubbles, and then everybody's communicating in a certain type of way. Let me see. And kind of here's a graph. Principle and interest. Make sure I got that on the camera properly. So if you have an art project where you tell the student, hey, pick a square out of this particular workbook and redraw it. Automatically, they're having to pay attention to the colors and everything like that involves art. They have to rewrite the thought bubbles or the speaking bubbles. That's language arts. They're learning about economics, which is social studies. And, depending on what's going on, it's a math equation. Everything is in one spot. So by focusing on creating proper word problems in math equations or things centered around whether it's math or language arts or whatever topic, if it's spoken on in multiple ways rather than this is just math, this is just language arts, this is just social studies, you're able to repeat the same information in multiple contexts, which increases comprehension skills. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the solutions that I do have.
Hey, I like that. And let's just do some big building right now, Miss Ellie. I want you to know this is just not me having a platform and speaking nonsense. I actually am a program coordinator for a clinical-based learning environment. So my 9 to 5 is literally working with children and coming up and trying to figure out new ways that I can implement learning and involving them to engage with me within the real world and generalizing that information for them in life. To say, meeting with someone like yourself, we can come together and create a curriculum where I can use this space, I can use the clinic to be able to offer these services and be able to grow our businesses and actually make a change, have a different solution that comes towards teaching, and not just alternative school or private schools. No, individualized, personalized educational schools. So If I'm throwing something out to you and it hook, hey, let me know. We could definitely do some building off the platform. But I just want to, hey, this conversation right here is just motivating and inspiring and encouraging myself. So I thank you for the work that you've already done. And, y'all willing, hey, we got some more ground to break.
Only question I have is, what's the best way to contact you?
Hey, I'm going to put my email in the chat, so hey, just hit me up.
Because I am not gonna say too much because internet's weird. I will give you the details of what is in place because the stuff that I read, that's just the stuff I'm comfortable sharing. The stuff I'm working on, oh yeah.
I know how. Hey, I'm here for it, and I'm excited to see what you about to bring out for real, and to say I want to use my platform to promote ideals as such alternative teaching environments, even in home schooling teaching environments, because we have to gain hold of our money, our investments, and actually put it towards something that's useful. When you think about children, these are investments, and not just financially, but you have people who don't look at their child as them being a functional part of society, or even helping them being a functional part of society, where if you do have a business as a man or a woman, you, in the back of my mind, you would say, my kid don't need to work for nobody else because we have a business. If there was a community of people that look like us and had businesses and say, hey, you don't need to go to Harvard College to learn what they're learning in order to get money in this world. We have a business. We have information that we can share. We actually have passion behind what we do, and we can teach you free of charge, free of debt from student loans, because I'm your mom, I'm your dad, and I love you, and I want to see you even add on to this business. So just getting us into the mind frame of that as people, because that's just looking out in society. That's what everybody else did. You look at all the markets, as far as even the educational market, black people don't own that. And to say you can get jobs in these fields, yeah, but you can't get your family member a job, but the people who do own it can get their family members a job.
Speaking from experience, that's how I grew up. My dad, he would travel a lot, and when he wasn't traveling too much, me and my siblings would work at the mall. Sales. I'm a child, teenager talking to grown people. Hey, you want to buy this thing? And I made money. My mom, she hired me for video editing, and I got paid. My dad picked the same situation. I helped her with the social media. Everything he's talking about is not a hypothetical. Brothers and sisters. It's real life. I lived it. It's a beautiful thing to get everyone into that mindset versus feeling it's necessary to not just necessarily work for someone else. It's not necessarily a problem to work for someone else if they have something that your family does not have that you want. That's fine. That's okay. But that should be the option. There should always be a family dynamic that can be used for generating income. And if you want to work somewhere else, it's just because you want to work somewhere else. You don't need to work for someone else because your family doesn't have a source of a business for you to work in. That's what we're talking about.
Big facts. And I could talk about religion all day. I could talk about, when the brother came in the chat, idolatry and stuff like that. Really bringing us into the concept of reality. God gave us talents to be able to service one another. With those talents of servicing one another, we can reap services from one another by bartering, or there is a medium of exchange like money. In the Bible, people had jobs. So, one of the most highly regarded jobs that's in the Bible that you see now is teaching. If you really want to break it down, that's what the highest paid people were. They were teachers. They were people who educated others, even if it was from the biological standpoint of what you should eat, if it was from the spiritual aspect, even if it was on the lines of finances, like dealing with coins and knowing how much certain amounts of wheat weighed, and back in the day type of mathematics. But still, there is a need right now for so-called biblical people, or people who read the Bible, or Christians, however anybody else wants to identify. There is a need right now for a system, an educational system that influences, encourages, and motivates the next to be great.
It's real interesting because I'm gonna read this real quick. This is I'm a published author now. This is my book. Bird Dog Real Estate. Everyone could and should own real estate. And this chapter is the most important chapter. Chapter 4 is called Family Sole Purpose. I'm gonna read a little bit of it. It's just what you just described is like, I don't like talking about it too much because people get, I did this on purpose, but I intentionally stay away from it in the more Israel Yasharallah space, because I know that some people just aren't ready for certain words or topics sometimes. So this is an ebook that I wrote that has a matching homeschool kit with it. It's called #NewAge Investing. So it says exploring traditional investments and their technological advancements and Web3 while you stay in spiritual alignment. And in the homeschool kit itself, I have a calendar. Okay, so teachers have calendars where they have to teach the months of the year, the days of the week, the time periods, and everything like that. You have to teach time. A lot of our people don't even know the biblical calendar. And I put that chart in my homeschool kit so that the children and the parents can know the Hebrew names of each time period. And it's just kind of wild that you even said that so specifically with the biblical aspect, because it caters to all people of all religions. At the same time, I intentionally put the Hebrew stuff in there because I know what I believe in. And it's important for others to know, if you're going to believe in something, if you're going to enact on these specific things, you need to learn the backing of what it is. A lot of our people are afraid of things like astrology. Well, actually, if you read the Bible, you would know that the starting point of when astrologers say that the year starts at Aries, that's equivalent to a bib in the Bible. So just because things got twisted around in ways that we don't know anymore doesn't mean you can't go back and do your research and learn that this is actually the truth. January is not the beginning of the year, but the words were flipped around and switched, and that's what we have to learn about. So I just plugging that in. I was going to talk about the book already, but the homeschool kit, I got to speak on that one. It's called #NewAge Investing. But with this, it says family sole purpose with a heart. The nuclear and blended family dynamic is the pinnacle of generational wealth. The father produces values and systems. The mother or mothers instill those values and systems in the children. The children carry on the legacy. While we recognize financial literacy, we comprehend that wealth is much more important than managing finances well. Wealth is also living the sole purpose and fulfilling the mission of the divine. Loving your family is always keeping the Most High God first in all endeavors. Living righteously is a lifestyle that your family learns from you. Instill great principles and wealth will follow. The BDRE Homeschool Kit is also here to help you connect with your family more while you learn about wealth creation and management. So it's like, it's more than money, obviously, y'all, but it's the way that we're expressing these things to, whether it's our children or others in the community, because unfortunately, not everybody has a nuclear family. Everybody doesn't have a dad. Some people don't have moms. We have adopted children, people in the orphanage system, group homes and stuff like that. So that's where you got to extend your hand as a village. But most people can relate to having some sort of parent in the household. This is what we need to be discussing with our children, not all this other stuff that people be talking about. It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, like I'm going to reach out to you. I got your email. And I'm not going to say let's get to work. We're already working, so we can continue this afterward.
Hey, I love it. And man, my mind firing off cylinders right now, and you said something about the nucleus family being taught. You know, you got households with mother and father. You got households with just father. You got households with just mother. And say we're entering into that new age of a very taboo of a kid not having a mother nor father, artificially inseminated. And so who's responsible? What bearing does it have for that child that is born, that is artificially created? And where do you think that the processing is going to be passed down? Because even though you can teach someone how to do something, they always tell you, oh, you got that from your daddy, you got that from your mommy. And so it's like we have these talents that are passed down. We have these skills, we have these adaptations, you know, Darwin's theory of evolution and stuff like that. We have now a new age of individuals who are being produced. I can't even say born, but being produced in a society where how do we even teach them? Or what is the right way to teach them? And are these people already out in society right now? And in leadership roles, like,
that's a big one. That's one I ain't even contemplated on. Wow.
So it's a lot. It's a lot we're up against. It's a lot, obviously, to sit here and talk about the concerns and the questions that we have, but to be able to bring forth solutions. You know, I tip my hat off to you, because we're in a space where there's really not enough attention on this topic. You know, people would rather talk about who's the most confused. People would rather talk about how many bottles of baby oil is coming up in someone's house, and people would rather speak about who looked best during the political campaign. So it's like, no, let's sit down and talk about our children being taught the right way, an effective way, a simple way to be able to create a change that will dissipate these behaviors and mental issues that we see that's literally on the rise right now.
Much gratitude to you for being in this field and seeing it every day, interacting with the children every day, and putting forth the effort to make a change. Change from the inside, and of course influence from the outside as well. It's all necessary, especially from the inside. The inside has to be receptive to the changes, because a lot of people's biggest complaint may be, well, I don't want to learn something new. Didn't y'all just accept Common Core though? You can learn something new. So I want to show my appreciation for you, because I'm not going to put my child in public school. And if I do, it'll be for certain reasons. But everyone who does work in education and does take that time out to express and communicate that they would like change, but also taking the steps to implement change. A lot of teachers talk about, they want more money and a larger paycheck. I agree. We just need to focus on the purpose of the job first, or simultaneously. We can't ask for the increase in payment without an increase in quality at the same time.
Facts. You bringing it though. You bringing it, and due to certain laws and HIPAA confidentiality, I can't really express what I want to on YouTube as far as like the services that we do provide and that I'm working on providing with the community that I'm around right now. But man, this whole scope is going to be changed within the next 5 years, and I'm planning on seeing you at the top.
I'm looking forward to it. I don't know if you're playing in the industry right now, but I do have to go. It's funny because I wanted to hop on the stream a little bit. I was mostly wanting to hear you talk, but then you opened up the panel. So let me talk a little bit. Now here we are 2 hours later. So I do have a stream of my own plan around this topic. So it's ironic, but it's all divine. And I'm I'm grateful. Very, very grateful. Much gratitude to you for opening up these conversations and having comprehensive and holding Black men accountable. Thank you so much. My God.
I come in the spirit for real, and when I see that coming through, I just, come on, man. I could be religious with you, and then I could also be real with you, bro. This ain't nothing we talking about. Come on, bro. Like, cognition, and just to be able to represent and model what a man is when we're having a conversation. Obviously, I didn't want to say anything disrespectful, but, you know, gave him the opportunity to speak. I didn't see anything as far as me to respond to, because he didn't really ask me a question. So just taking in consideration that we do have people like that in this world, and hey, the Most High has moved with grace with me and mercy. So hey, I show the same.
It's very real. Very real. Shalom, much gratitude, and you have a great evening.
You as well. Peace. Man. Hey, y'all, man, you... Yeah, I had to say it. Hey, it's an oily situation going out over here on these YouTube streets and platforms, man. People out here teaching the ways of the diddler. Talk about, ooh, got him off of here. Yeah, bro. He came through. I guess this was, he seen me from New Breeze Live, and obviously I really don't know what it was, but his argument was that we shouldn't be praising Jesus Christ. I don't want to take his words out of context. I'm going to have to rewatch it, but I think that was the case, especially when people who are on these platforms tell me off the bat, hey, I'm Torah. They tend to go into a long rant about how they don't like Jesus Christ. They pretty much tell me, hey, that's not real. And these people very programmed in the way that they communicate, where I was on top of it. I even identified him in the chat before he even got up on the panel. I wanted you guys to see him. I asked him if he could turn on his camera. He said he didn't have the adequate space to right then and there. I'm just like, dude, I don't even know you. And so just really want to create a space where we can communicate effectively. We know how to approach one another's when communicating on a topic. And this is, I'm telling you, this needs to be taught in school. If it's not being taught in school, then people are going to be running rampant out here. Like, again, I was telling Miss Ellie in the chat, what if I was over here talking about school and education, and then I asked you a question, and then the next thing that comes out of your mouth is something about ice cream? Wait, I just asked you about the education system, and now you're talking to me about what flavor ice cream you like. In the back of my head, all I can do is make a rational thought. This person does not comprehend the words that is coming out of my mouth, or either they are, lack of better words, not fast. And so I relate that not to the man himself that got onto the panel, but I relate that to the people who taught him how to communicate, how to engage. Obviously, the Bible that he's reading from, if you would want to share your knowledge or even express your disapproval of certain topics, hey, you can do that in an appropriate fashion. Not just if someone's over here asking a question to you about education and then you're talking about ice cream, that person is going to look at you like, yeah, they didn't understand anything I said. So, a little crazy, right? But what can you expect from a crazy world? Hey, Steve Bless, I definitely was supposed to give her a comment while she was up. I was digging a fro. You see, I almost had mine twisted out. I was wondering, that's what took me a little long. I was about to twist my twist my hair out and had a fro too. Hey, that would have been powerful. 2 fros up here talking about some education. Hey, that would have been powerful. Tell me about the imagery in mind, man. And it was an honor having her on here, sharing her insights. I didn't even get to play the video about the education system because we were just bouncing off each other back and forth for this 2 hours. We were able to hold a conversation and build on something for which, again, how many people can actually withstand the longevity of a conversation and stay on point? It takes some talent. It takes some skill. It actually takes someone being educated enough to have a conversation to even extend it past 5 minutes. And so it was a blessing to see all of that happen real time. It's always a blessing to be able to get on this platform and share my passion with you all. Man, stay tuned. Hit that like button. Hit that share button. Share this video with some educators you think can add on to the concerns, questions, and solutions to the educational system. I definitely want to continue on doing this build as far as just elaborating what we see in our experiences. So I may have to do a part 2 of this open panel. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in my community tab if you guys enjoy content like this. Give me some feedback. You know, keep a brother informed. And we're going to keep on building from here. Man, I love the afro. Loved it. Oh, man. Let me see what's going on in the comments. Really enjoyed this stream. Same. Hey, y'all, man, you was ready. You was ready. I didn't want to take away from the content of the video. Now I can interact and engage with y'all now. I didn't want to take away from the content of the video, but I'm like, man, please. I hope my chat don't go in on them, let them rock out. You know, I wanted him to keep on texting because, hey, I don't want to cancel you from speaking your opinion. But if you get disrespectful, hey, I got Yame in the building. You feel me? And with all of this social media, literally, when you expose a kid to information, believe it or not, you're teaching them. What is social media doing right now? Exposing everybody to the information of the diddler. It's teaching them. Talking about rocking the woolly hair. Hey. Woo. Same. Talking about I'm not with the foolishness. I didn't see him on there. He must have gotten off when I tuned in, but I don't play with that mess for real. Yeah, I gave him his 5 minutes to shine. He came over from New Breed's platform, and I guess he's seen that I was a supporter of New Breed, so he's just like, I am a Torah doctrine soldier, and I must go to every platform who talks about Jesus Christ and tell them that they're in idolatry. If that's your form of teaching, sir, hey, salute to you. I hope your message gets across. But for me and mine over here, all praises, all honor, and all glory to the Most High. Gadol Yeshayahu. Hallelujah. Total Rabbi Yeshua. And to say, I acknowledge. You feel me? I know what's going on. I'm very aware, or like they like to say, woke. Facts. 100. Definitely enjoy this type of content. Man, and with me having this so-called biblical channel, you know, where I do have a bunch of my supporters that come in and build with me on the scriptures, having conversations like this, you tend to still have people in that religious mind frame where even if I ask them a question about the education system, it's all about, well, the Bible says this. No, come on, man. I'm asking you a question about something that's happening in reality with the education system. You can respond biblically, but to say that you disregard the question in the context of things that we see is an obvious problem, that lets me know the mind state of, I don't know if the guy was young or old, but men in general, we have to get back to communicating to the point where it's comprehension and understanding coming from it. When we get together on these platforms, and if there's just debating going on all the time and no one's really having some type of concise, simple words of elaborating what their stance is, it's like just a bunch of people yelling on screens. You guys know my stance. I'm here to inspire, to encourage, and to motivate the next to be great. With all due respect, anybody else that tries to do otherwise, hey, you got to sit. you got to move around. When there becomes a situation where debating overrules the context of creating, I'm to the left. Talking about you be coming with it. Hey, gotta bring it back. Man, period. For real. Man. Yeah. Sheesh. Whew. They are called the accusers of brothers. Yeah, I appreciate you, Yame, for rocking with me. Hey, one of the real ones, you feel me? Stay keeping me encouraged, stay keeping me motivated, always keeping me on point, making sure I got my H2O with me. And I guess it's that time, Yame. I don't even got my water. And hey, you already see the time frame, man. I've been up here for about two and a quarter almost, man. But hey, I love y'all. I thank y'all. Stay tuned. We got some more content on the way. I'm working in the back scenes on my production to get out some more music too. So, man, just bear with me. Be patient. And once again, man, I thank y'all. Love y'all. Until next time. Peace. Yeah.